You joined Toastmasters.
Mm.
Why?
Well, Fiona came across it. We were not long here, and we didn't really know too many people other than family connections. Fiona discovered it and had to persuade me to come because the name is very off-putting, as you've probably experienced too, because it sounds very stuffy, that everybody will be standing around in 70s tuxedos, making cheesy jokes. But of course it's not like that at all. It's in the case of Westport, and I imagine a lot of other clubs in Ballina and Galway clubs and clubs around the country, indeed the world, it seems to attract reflective people. These might not be, there's quite a range in social, in society. You get all sorts of people, teachers and doctors and Gardaí and students and self-employed people and retired people, all sorts of people, all sorts of walks of life. But one thing they all have in common, I think, is reflective minds and thoughtful people who want to express themselves. And so the great thing is they can express themselves in a Toastmasters meeting, often without realizing what they're about to say that evening, because you're prompted to speak, given what amount of random topics to speak on. So you might find yourself telling an anecdote about something that happened to you 20 years ago they haven't thought about for those 20 years. And there's a time limit on what you say, so if anybody is very
expensive.
Yes, they're gently drawn in by the rules to confine themselves to 2 minutes on topics, or 6 or 8 minutes for a speech. So there's a great mood in the room. It's very enjoyable, and lovely people we've met.
Have you found it to be of any benefit to yourself? Well, you're expressive. You're used to speaking and lecturing, and
yes, I did, but I suppose it all broadens you. All these experiences broaden you.
Absolutely,
and you learn. It's a very there's a great balance struck in Toastmasters in that you learn, but you're not made to feel bad for not knowing or understanding something in the first place. At the end of speeches, there's the formal speeches, there's one of your colleagues in the club, one of your fellow members, evaluates what you've said. And of course there's a very high standard of evaluation in our club, in that people have really mastered the art of critiquing without criticizing or personalizing it, or often people will find a lot to praise, and with good reason, because generally speaking people's speeches are good, but people will surprise themselves with what they come out with, but then find a pointer to help you improve, and I found that very useful.